President Cyril Ramaphosa has issued the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, with a formal reprimand for transporting an ANC delegation to Zimbabwe on an aircraft of the South African Air Force. The President has ordered that the minister will not receive her salary for 3 months. The minister was on an official trip for which the president had given permission. However, he found that it was an error of judgment to use the plane to convey a political party delegation. Starting from the 1st of November 2020, her salary will be paid into the Solidarity Fund, which was established to support the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic. The president also directed the minister to make sure that the ANC reimburses the state for the costs of the flight to Harare. So we've been getting political reaction in the last hour. We heard from the IFP, the UDM, the Democratic Alliance. Let's bring in now COPE's Dennis Bloem to tell us more. Sir, thank you very much indeed for coming on. Your reaction to this official reprimand from the president?
Good morning, Bloem. Yes, no, we are saying that if it was in another country where state security has been taken serious, then the president could have fired the Minister of Defense immediately. But we know that the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, does not have any powers. He is not in charge of his government. It's Lutuli House who's in charge, who is taking decisions. So he is in a very difficult situation. He must look to the left, to the right. This a decision that he's taking, you can see it's not taken wholeheartedly. He was just trying to please the people to issue out a statement. So, we are saying that this is a very serious offense. To transport civilians in a military plane is a gross offense.
So the president says, sir, the president says that this was an error of judgment. You saying that a salary sacrifice for 3 months is not good enough?
No, we are saying, Bloem, there's nothing that we can do now because the president has already taken that decision. What we are saying about this 3-month salary, this 3-month salary must not go to the Solidarity Fund. It must go to an NGO or to an institution that is housing destitute people. People, this money are going to be still. They are going to take this money again, like the 500 billion rand. You cannot put this money in the hands of thugs who is stealing money left, right, and center. That's why we are saying that we know that President Cyril Ramaphosa is in a catch-22. Yeah, he can't do anything. It's Magashule and Lutuli House who is taking such decisions.
Well, let's just speak a bit about that, Mr. Bloem. The president has further directed the minister to make sure that the ANC reimburses the state for the cost of that flight to Harare. We spoke to the Democratic Alliance earlier on. They put the figure of around 260,000 or so. In terms of the repercussions, you know, in terms of the party, the Democratic Alliance has also laid criminal charges against them. Do you think that's the correct course of action here?
No, we are saying that we will take this thing up in Parliament. Our members of Parliament will not leave this thing like this. We are going to mobilize all opposition parties who think like us to take this thing further. This thing of 260,000 also of the DA. We must go to a company that is dealing like SAA, who is dealing with flight seats. Let us get a proper evaluation of how much it will cost, because you can't say that we are going to pay this and we are not sure about people who are dealing with flights, with planes. Let us consult them and let them give us a proper figure. How much must they pay?
The president relied on the minister's report and a supplementary report. Do you want access to that report? Do you think Parliament and the nation should be able to scrutinize that report?
That is not a secret report. That is a public report. Each and everything in this government, this democratic government, there is no secrecy. We want the president to open up this report, publish this report, so that we must have access. We must scrutinize this report.
Mr.
What
Bloem,
we are saying is that we want to hear the truth. It is very dangerous place to transport people in a military place. If anything has happened there on the plane, on their way to Zimbabwe, it could have been very serious damage to the country.
All right, Dennis Bloem from COPE, thank you very much indeed, sir, for your take on this matter.
You are always welcome. Thanks, Blaine.
All right, let's get some political reaction now, or political analysis. I want to bring in Professor Somadoda Fikeni now for more. Sir, thank you very much indeed for coming on. So, look, some are saying that this, whatever happened in terms of the action taken by the minister, it's strong enough for her to be fired. The president says this is an error of judgment. Salary sacrifice for 3 months that will go to the Solidarity Fund. Do you think the minister's action and the action taken by the president lines up?
Well, I do think that more could have been done, but politics is the world of what is possible and what is real. That the Minister of Defense chose to give a lift, as she says, to the top leadership of the ANC already meant that this was a very delicate matter where firing Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula would have actually galvanized those leaders against the president when his hold on power is already precarious. So docking the salary and also signaling that the ANC should also pay back, I think given the circumstances, that is as far as it can go.
The COPE's Dennis Bloem seems to think that party politics is at play here, or has had an influence in terms of the president's decision. What do you reckon?
As I already indicated, the assessment of the fact that in this case you're talking of party leadership being transported to Harare on a mission that party itself had decided it should have an intervention, where the president had earlier tried to send envoys and there was no positive results out of this particular situation. So in this particular case, it's not as if the president is uninvolved and unaware of the political dynamics, which had to be balanced with the public outcry, where there is an obvious conflation of party and state, roles here.
For full transparency, Professor, do you think the president should release the initial report as well as the supplementary report to the nation so that the nation and Parliament itself can scrutinize this report?
Well, I do think that any entity which wanted the report, given the access to information policy, they should be able to access that report. But I think it's a moot point now, because even if you get the report, it will simply signal more or less the same thing, where the Minister of Defense might have been on a certain mission, which may have been legitimate, but chose to make sure that it coincides and also give right to the party members. That in itself should be a strong signal that party and public resources should be separated in a constitutional democracy, because conflation of the two is what has led in some instances to the kind of abuse and to the kind of cadre deployment which has politicized public sector.
Professor, we can talk much more, but we'll have to leave it there. We have to get to another event, but thank you very much indeed for your analysis there.
Thank you.
All right, Professor Somadoda Fikeni there.